You say this will usher in a new era of shopping. How so?
Good question. Well, I think it's really exciting to see. One fun aspect of this is just that, due to the dominance of one of the biggest retailers in the world here in the US, it's almost like put a little bit stop to development of great services on the shopping side because they were so dominant. And in Europe, that wasn't really the case. So what we've taken here is a service that has been highly appreciated by consumers in Europe, which is about comparison, finding products, finding prices and all of this. And then basically, taking it to the US market. So I'm super excited about it.
Can you give us any details about just how successful Klarna Spotlight has been in Europe and what makes you think you can challenge big US tech giants in this area?
Well, you have to try to start with. We'll see if we can. But I think it's huge in the sense that in a lot of the countries where this service has existed, it is the starting point for people's shopping experience. So they go there, they start there, they find the products, they learn about it, and then they go further to the retailer. So it is really the starting point. So it's really, really big.
And you're also integrating shoppable video, which I know Gen Z loves. What do you think the impact of that can be?
I think, to us, to be honest right now, is the marketing side of our services has grown tremendously. We actually do now business with half of the top 100 US retailers for marketing services. And the problem we have is our demand is much higher. It's 4 or 5 times higher than supply. So one of the ideas here is just to see how can we get the audience that we already have in the app, 30 million Americans are using the app, how can we provide them with more interesting content so that we can also grow, offer more supply for everyone who wants to market in that environment.
So let's take Meta specifically. Obviously, they've got Facebook and Instagram, and they have some of these features built into their apps. What makes you think you can compete with them specifically?
Well, I think there will be multiple places to entertain yourself. But I think to some degree, if you look at an Instagram experience, you're doing a lot of things there. You're maybe, watching kitten videos. You're maybe doing following different type of things. Here, it's very much more around shopping, right? It's very concentrated around that. So it's different experiences. But I think there will be multiple channels for people to explore content.
Inflation is at record highs. Interest rates are changing. How is Klarna navigating a rising rate environment? How is it impacting your business model?
Well, what's interesting about it is that we are a bank fully licensed in Europe. So we have deposits that are funded in a European interest rate environment where interest rates in our markets are still fairly low. So it actually gives us a fairly nice competitive advantage to some of the US players from a cost perspective. But in addition to that, also what we are seeing is an actually increasing demand of our product. Because if you think about it, our consumers in the US have saved over $100 million in interest fees, late fees, and so forth by using our products because they're interest-free and so forth, right? So we're talking about the paying for the short-term installment type product.
Yeah.
And so there's more demand for that in an interest rate environment that's rising. So we see higher demand, and then we have a very efficient cost structure thanks to that.
Are you taking any action to mitigate potential losses from BNPL?
For sure. And we've already done that, right?
Yeah.
So we did tighten our underwriting both already back in Jan and a little bit more additionally in April and May because there's obviously a different environment that we're going into. So you have to be cautious about that.
Now, at the same time, people are complaining that their purchasing power is decreasing. Can you explain how you set purchasing power and if you're reconsidering how you set that given these changing conditions?
Well, I think that the big thing to remember is that when people use our product, the average outstanding balance is $75. On a credit card, it may be like $1,500, right? So, and the different thing is also a credit card gives you a limit, and then they push that limit into your face for you to spend more than you should. Watch Netflix Money Explains, Credit Cards Explain. You see exactly what they're doing. So the difference with us, we don't do that. We're very mindful. Yes, you can find out about your purchase power, but we're very mindful of showing it to you so you don't overspend. And then in addition to that, we take a new decision every time you make a transaction, right? So on a credit card, you just can spend as much as you can. They just want you to max out on your credit card because that's how they make money.
Yeah.
For us, we're taking a new decision on every purchase. So actually, that's why our losses are 30% below credit card industry standards due to that.
Now, you've been doing restructuring and you've been pretty upfront about this. Are you doing more of that? Are you going to have more cuts before the end of the year? How many employees will you have at the end of this year? And how much of that is in the U.S., where I know you were growing quickly?
No, the big restructure that we did was back in May. There's always been, obviously, before that and after that, minor changes to the organization and so forth. But that was the big one. And I think as much as it was very painful and hard, and it's obviously a very sad thing to see amazing colleagues leave. But at the same point of time, what I think is what was good about it was we did it early on. We took the decision. And I'm now hearing from a lot of people that like they're coming to those decisions now. So I'm still proud about the fact that we faced the fact that times have changed and we acted on it. And I think in the end that agility is what sets you apart.
How are you thinking about the IPO and potential fundraising in a changing environment?
Well, to some degree, I got that question a year ago, obviously.
I'm asking it again.
Yeah, no, for sure. And but I think then I said, look, I don't like the volatility of this environment. I felt it was a hyped environment that we were in. And now it's a little bit different. And my dream has always been to IPO the company where it's in a similar fashion when Google did it in 2005. It was kind of a perfect market. It wasn't like overhyped. It wasn't underhyped. It was stable. And we have so much growth left in the US. We're still growing at 100%. We see tremendous success here. And so I want to IPO when there's still that amazing upside left, like Google also had. Obviously, we're now thinking about I think the market cap was $25 billion when they, so you want that. So I think we're getting close to that spot in time.